How we all doing? Thought I'd try something a little bit different today. Something that's a little bit impromptu. So forgive the aesthetic here. This will be updated if this is something that I continue to do. I was just sitting here doing some work, and I was like, why don't I just record something talking about some bits and bobs? Because recently I found my old hard drive, which included a load of old podcast episodes from various podcasts that I used to do. This was like way before, everyone had a podcast and it was a popular thing. Because I remember when I used to say to people about it, they used to be like, "What the hell's a podcast?" Now, most people are like, "What the hell's a TV show?" Because podcasts and YouTube are like the number one consumable form of media for most. But yeah, I remember I started my first podcast back in 2009 with my mate Steve. We did one called The Movie Dudes, where we were just talking about movies. And me and Steve have done various podcasts over the years. I mean, not so much recently, but various projects. And whenever we record something, there was always the ongoing joke of the best. Like I'd open it up, or the first thing I'd say is like, "Welcome to part two of the best movies of the top movies of 2010." Because the last episode of that show we recorded was the best movies of 2010 part one, and we never did a part two. So like even I think the last time we did something was recorded something was in 2022, which was about what's the last James Bond film? No way to die, no day to die, no way to die. So yeah, something like that. And I opened it with that little line again. So that I did that with him, and then we did a Tottenham Hotspur podcast. Me, Steve, and our friend Dean, who has become quite the YouTuber over the years. Dinosaurus now. He's got quite a decent channel going for him. A fair amount of subscribers and whatnot. So yeah, he's doing well. He moved to Detroit a few years ago. I say a few years ago. I think it was like 5 years ago or something like that. But yeah, he's doing well for himself, and it sort of spanned into like all different ones. And one of the podcasts we used to do is I say me was I started one called Talking with Sam, and where we were sort of we got a little bit of momentum sort of around 2012, 2013, 2014, with the movie one, and like we did some stuff, and I did some other projects, and we started talking to like people in the industry, like film actors and some stars, and we were talking to like Rachel Lee Cook, who was on of She's All That, 90s teenage sweetheart. Especially she was like one of my top teenage crushes. I loved that film, and I actually, after we did that, we got invited to a event in London where she was, and I got to also speak to her and like on camera and that, which was very awkward. But yeah, and funny enough, I went to a fair few events off of the back of that as well, which was weird. But yeah, I'd started this podcast called Talking with Sam. I think I only released a handful of episodes, but I had a good number in the bank, which I found on this this hard drive. And what I'll do is, I don't think like most of them were edited, so I'll bring them out one day, and I'll probably put them on here as like a throwback library of podcasts that are like over 10 years old now. But one of the coolest ones was speaking to Lance Henriksen, who if those who are fans of aliens and things like that will know him as like Bishop. So yeah, that was cool getting to speak to him. And sorry, as I said, I'm working at the moment as well, so things pop up. So basically, he that was cool talking to him. I was speaking to Alan Ruck, who from he was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Speed, and amongst other things. Yeah, it was quite a chunk of like a fair amount of people I ended up speaking to, and then sort of I think as like the Jurassic thing came about, that's pretty much when I put a stop on all the podcasts because that was I just wanted to put any focus of mine outside of my day job and my family. I just wanted to put on that. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting. So I thought, I'll just jump on here and talk while I'm doing some work and see if this is something that takes. So what I'll do actually, like going forward, I'll probably do these as a live stream rather than a pre-recording, and I'll do them not while I'm working, which is why I'm not live streaming this one. I was going to live stream it, and I was like, actually, just in case I accidentally pop up a window or something on the screen, it shouldn't do with the way I've got this set up. But just in case, I don't want something like confidential popping up, and then I'm like, fuck, that was live streamed. But yeah, cool. Also, I mean, it's a pretty just. You can look on the internet now and whatever. I know it's so fucking stupid saying sides, but whatever your, beliefs are, or which political parties and things like that is, you follow, you don't follow, even if you give a shit. It's just a very bleak time out there, and it's hard not to get dragged into it. I've got friends in America who are like on both sides, which is fucking. I even feel dumb saying both sides because you shouldn't let politics get in the way of friendships. But even over here, it's just super fucking bleak. Like when you turn on the news, or not even turn on the news. I don't watch the news, but you know what I mean. You just see it, and it's just depressing every day. And I really do worry about my kids' future in this country. And it's I hope there is sort of signs of change. But how long that takes, and some of the changes coming through from the absolute failure of what's going on with those in power. Not just the current government in the UK, the previous one as well, they're just as much to blame. But it just seems like it's a very reactive change, even on the sitting government side. What they're doing to apparently change it, it's reactive, it's not proactive. It's only because it's gotten that bad, not necessarily fully their fault, but under the previous government. And then it's like they're being strong-armed. It's like they're being strong-armed into acting, which is shit, because these people should be looking out for the people of Britain, the British citizens, and that should be their priority, and it just doesn't seem to be that. But touch wood, this changes sooner rather than later, rather than us having to wait another 4 years to force the change. But I really do hope that my kids can have a better future than what's on offer for them at the moment. And because we've had conversations within the house that it's maybe Britain is not the place for us if this doesn't improve anytime soon. And I'd hate for that to happen, because I love this country, and I love Britain, and I hate people that like naysaying it, especially people who have like no idea what they're saying. I always see shitheads online like, oh, Britain's responsible for this, that, like the slavery talk. It's like, actually the British were the first to abolish slavery. With the I'm sure, I'm not saying the historical elements of this country haven't done bad things, but we've done a hell of a lot. I say we, it's not me. It's like the country had done a hell of a lot of good things as well, and that shouldn't be overshadowed. And we're doing a hell of a lot of good things now, but people oversee that, and it's just one of them things. I love this country. I used to love going to London. I used to be proud, and like just everything about that city I love. But the last few years, it's just turned into like a toilet, pretty much. It's dirty, it's crime ridden, it's dangerous, and even in the fact now that, although I'll get to this in a minute, because yeah, I wanted to touch on my running stuff, but London Marathon I'm doing this year is gonna. I've said this is my last London race, because I usually do like the London Winter Run, which is actually round the corner, which like in the next month, but I'm not doing it this year. Vitality 10K was a staple of my running calendar. I'm not doing that this year. There's also like Saucony 10Ks and things like that, which used to be the A6 10K. I'm not doing any of them. Even I'm in a running club and people are like, oh, do you want to come to do Fulham 10K? Do you want to do this round? I'm like, no, it's in London. I don't want to go. The reason is I just don't at the moment. The way it is up there and just the feeling I get when I'm in the city at the moment, I just don't want to be there. You know, the London Marathon I'm only purely doing that. Although I've done it before, I want to do the majors, which is 6, or it's now 7 because they added Sydney. It's the 6 major marathons. So you got London, New York, Boston, Chicago, Tokyo. I'm missing one. Am I missing one? Yeah, Tokyo. Berlin, and now they've added Sydney. They're the 6 majors, 7 majors, and I want to do them. But my London Marathon from 2021 wasn't my finest hour, and I want to restart this majors journey on a high. So I want to go back, and because I smashed the LA Marathon last year, like I wanted to get 4 hours, you know, which is an hour and 20 odd minutes quicker than my London time for a full marathon. But you know, I got, was it like 4 hours and 5 minutes, purely because, you know, it was so hilly, and as soon as we got to like mile 20, the sun peeked over those mountains in Los Angeles, like going into Santa Monica and like over the Hollywood Hills, and I was just like, it is so hot. And I run with the 4 mile pacer group, and it was as soon as that happened, you just see people going ping ping, like just dropping off, and I held on for as long as I can, and then like I just needed a toilet. It was so hot, so you know, nature took its course, and yeah, and I got to the finish line in 4:05, which, all things considered, I was massively happy with, and I think I could easily, you know, get sub 4 in London. So I want to, you know, start off my majors journey with London, like going in and kick it off, rather than be like, oh, I did London 4 years ago, that'll be fine, I'll do the next ones. You know, I want this to be a start to finish journey. So I'll do London this year. Maybe one of the, is it like New York or something that's in later in the year? I might see if I can squeeze that in this year. If not, I will do probably 2 next year. We'll see how it goes, but yeah. So yeah, London, I'm doing that, but that's gonna be my last London race. Yeah. As it stands, should I say? Even though I was up there for Christmas for a client, invited me out for dinner. I went to like a nice restaurant and that, but I was just so glad to get home after. And but yeah, it's a shame. We'll see. But I have to say that though, I'm taking my kids in a few weeks, because I didn't take them up at Christmas, because I was like, I'm not going at Christmas. It's so shady up there, you know. Although it was nice, like you see the lights and pictures on like Instagram and things like that. It's like, it's not the reality of it. It's what's in between sort of scares me. So I was like, you know, in the new year we'll go up, because we used to, like a few years ago, we used to drive up, because you could drive right up into Canary Wharf, which is only, it was like 45-minute drive from my house if you go up early on a weekend morning, and you could drive into Canary Wharf, no congestion charge, no pay for parking rip off or anything like that. And we used to just drive up there, park in Canary Wharf, and then just jump on the DLR or the underground and go to some cool places, and we'd be done at by like midday, 1 o'clock. And especially if you go this time of year, it's just after Christmas, it's not mega busy, it's not touristy, because all the tourists are blown out for Christmas or are waiting for the summer. So yeah, that was that's what I'll be doing. I'll probably film that, film some elements of that, maybe maybe I'll be I hope I'm pleasantly surprised, and it's a lot nicer than what I've come to make that decision on in the last few years. But yeah, touch wood that's a good day. In terms of anything else going on, my hair. I mean, I had the hair transplant. It's now, as of like my video the other day, this is coming through now, starting to grow, and over the next 3 or 4 months, although it does take like up to a year and a half to get to like full thickness, but pretty much it looks good at about 5-6, like it looks full thickness at 5-6 months, but it will still thickening up for a year and a half. So yeah, so this will all just get thicker and thicker as time goes on, and I'll have a hairline, which was quite funny because I've always had like a receding hairline. It only got really bad in the last like proper thinned out on top in the last 2-3 years, but up until I was like 30, it wasn't too bad. It was just very minor, and then just as the years gone on, it progressed more rapidly. But even when I was like 18, 19, it was starting to appear like in these bits. And I said to the wife the other day, because she's a stylist, she shows me like videos, and like she does a lot of Instagram stuff, and I always look at her stuff, and she'll be like, "What do you think of this? What's she editing it?" And I said, she was talking about shampooing, like how when you go to a salon getting your hair like a proper shampoo or something like wash is like the best feeling ever. And I said to her, it would be nice to finally experience that, because like for the last 20 years, I'm 39 now, whenever I've gone to a hairdresser's or anything like that, it's always that thought of like, oh, my hair's falling out, or my receding hairline. That's always a thought. When you're looking in the mirror and you're cutting your hair, you're just looking at it. And when I've had my hair shampooed before, I'm like, oh, they can see my secret shame. And yeah, so I said to her, it's going to be nice to experience that and just enjoy it and not give a shit. Like, although this, when you've got light on, if I stand under a direct light like this, it looks less dense than it actually is, but it's not as bad in normal light. But unless you go into like a public toilet and they've got them beaming bright lights or something, it doesn't look so bad. But I'm going out now and not caring, which is it's such a nice feeling just to be like walking out the house and that I'm not even thinking about my hair. Whereas before, like, it was always a thought. Any photo, any time I went out the house, went anywhere, it was always like, oh, how's my hair? Oh, it's windy out. Oh, it was just, or where's my hat? Where's my hat? Where's my hat? But it's like people don't seem to really understand that sort of stigma with men of like, not stigma, but that kind of, insecurity it can bring a man. Everyone laughs about baldy and this, that, and the other, but like women, I'm not like, have always had makeup, do this, they get hair colors and things like that because they want to look good, they want to feel more confident, and there's nothing wrong with that. Even to the point of people getting like Botox and things like that. Yeah, like that seems to be culturally accepted, but it shouldn't be like not culturally accepted. That, like, I don't think it isn't. It's not, but hair for a man is a big thing, and so and so many people since I had it done, like friends and family and even strangers, like, and people that my wife knows are like, oh, I've been thinking about having that done. I want to get that done. It's literally, I think anyone out there who says they're not bothered is bothered. Like, they just don't want to admit it. And even people that I know, like some family members and that, who have had shaved heads for like all I can remember there, and they've all said like throughout life, they're like, I don't care, I just shave it off. But even when I got it done, like the results start coming through, they're like, oh, but if that was around when I was younger, I would have had it done. So it's something, men shouldn't be ashamed of being bald, but it's one of those things, like when when I had this done and it looked all right after, and they're like, yeah, you will go through the ugly duckling stage where it falls out. Um, you know, it will be a tough couple of months because you can't, and even like videos online, they're like you can't help but feel like it's not working, and you got to try and just sit there and be like, this is a means to an end. And yeah, it happened to me. I was like, fuck, like, what if it doesn't grow back? And then, this has only been like this for like 2 weeks, because at Christmas, I looked like I'd gone completely bald, because I even lost hair from the ugly duckling, they call it shock loss. I even lost that hair, like, that I had already had through the shock loss stage. I was like, fuck, I look worse than I did before. Yeah, and over Christmas, I was like, pretty much completely bald on the top, other than a bit of like bit here, and I was just completely shaving it. Especially like I went to my running club Christmas do with a complete shaved head, like an egg, and and I was just like, fuck. But it didn't, not fuck, but because it didn't bother me, because I was like, I was saying to people, because people were like, I thought you had a hair transplant. I was like, I did, but there's this shock loss stage. You got to wait like a good few months before it starts growing. And they were like, oh, okay. But there was, I'm just like, what if it doesn't come back? And then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks ago, it just went like, and just started, like, I woke up one day, I was like, it was almost like that. I woke up one day, I was like, oh yeah, I can see my hairline. And yeah, so all good. It's just such a, I look at it now, I know it's obviously still thin on there and it will get thicker, but I look at it now and I'm just like, fucking hell, that just makes me feel so happy, and not happy, but like confidence, which makes me happy that I don't have that dread of worrying about it anymore. I know my good buddy Jack watches some of my videos, and or hopefully all of them, if he's watching this, he'll remember when we was in LA this was 2022, when we went to the Jurassic World Dominion premiere, and the night before or the night before that, we were in a bar on Hollywood Boulevard. It was like some Hawaiian cocktail, not cocktail bar, but like Hawaiian-y sort of beach bar down on the Hollywood Boulevard. And sort of we was in there from sort of mid-late afternoon, but after a certain time that becomes like a bar, sort of like not a club bar, but a bar, like they sort of get the security on the door and the music goes up louder, and it becomes like a night clubbish sort of thing, a night bar. And basically the bouncer went round and was like telling people to remove their hats, because obviously in a nightclub or something like that, you wouldn't allow people to walk around in hats. They just, for whatever reason. And it was like the worst fucking dread come over me. And I remember he was sitting there in Yaroslav, and they were like, don't worry about it, just take it off, it's fine. And I was just like, for fuck's sake. But as soon as it was almost like the hat was waiting for me as I left. Like as soon as I went under the door, it was like boom to leave. So yeah. Anyway, enough on that. Hopefully, it'll look cooler, and yeah. Speaking of Jurassic, who's looking forward to Rebirth? Should be good. I've started watching the old movies again. I watched Jurassic Park and The Lost World the other day. Last night I watched Fallen Kingdom. I watched Jurassic Park, The Lost World, and Jurassic World, and then last night I watched Fallen Kingdom. I'll probably wait until Friday or Saturday to watch Dominion, the extended edition, obviously. I still haven't only watched that a handful of times. Funny story with Dominion is like, because I love that movie, it's the extended version is obviously we got invited to watch it at Pinewood, like just over a year before it was released by Colin. I think it was us, some people, and it was like the editing crew and the sound editing crew, because there was like bits of the sound missing, or temporary sound. I think there was like parts of the Fallen Kingdom score in many places. Some of the dinosaurs were using like the different roars, and we had to give like feedback and all of that after. But that I watched it then, which was pretty much the extended edition, give or take some additional scenes or that were just like cut down or just removed to save time. The second time I watched it was at the premiere, which I fell asleep in, but that's only because we in the morning of the premiere I decided to run Runyon Canyon in LA, and and I got up at like 5 in the morning to go and do that. So by the time the premiere rolled around and it was like 8 p.m. and watching the film, I was like in a dark room. I was like, I'm struggling to stay awake. Then when we got back, I took my kids to see it when it was released, and then I rewatched the extended edition on Blu-ray when it came out, and I think I might have watched it once since then, but I haven't. But yeah, it's only because we were in not involved, but like when the film came out, because we watched it so far ahead and we weren't allowed to talk about it almost. But unless amongst ourselves when we were like me, Jack, and Ross, who were the ones who went and watched it, and obviously when we started Dino Tracker, we were talking about it. But by the time the film came out, it was like and like just through what we'd done before, like we knew details of what was happening in that film, or like the basic details and outlines like years before. And the first Dino Tracker video that we ever did was the Triceratops Road one, and I filmed that in like February 2019. So that's a long time that we were in Dominion mode prior to the film coming out. So by the time it was actually released, to us, especially me, like, because we watched it a year before, it didn't feel like a new movie. So it was like, yeah, Dominion, yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that again. So you may have noticed a little jump there. That's probably why I won't do this one live streaming while I'm working, because I had to quickly sort some work bits out, and it's now 2 hours later. Yeah, so I think the last thing I was talking about was Jurassic, and I think going back to what I was saying about running, is that if you didn't know already, I moved all my running content over to a separate running channel. I'll put the link below, so please follow that if you don't already. Most of my running content's been on the Instagram, which I'll put a link down below, because I've got a running Instagram as well. But I've just started, especially for my marathon journey, because to do sort of entwined with that London Marathon, I'm doing 3 races in April, 3 big races. So the first weekend, I think it's Sunday the 6th of April, I'm doing Brighton Marathon, which is, Brighton's only like an hour and a half drive from here, which, I'm looking forward to. A few people I know did it last year, so it was a nice, cool race. Couple of hills, and hopefully it's not windy, because running on them cliff tops and along the seafront in the wind can be a bit gnarly, but touch wood. That's not the case, but I'm looking forward to that, where as a family going down for a few nights, I booked a hotel right near the start line, which will be nice, and it finishes on Brighton Beach. So yeah, I hope they got a spa. It might have a spa. I booked this like ages ago. So I've got that, and then 6 days later, 6 days after running a marathon, I'm running an ultra marathon, which is a Ultra X Spring Trail series. So instead of like taking a little bit of recovery, I'm gonna be doing a 50k ultra marathon 6 days later, which is on the Saturday. I have a bit of unfinished business and a bit of bad luck with Ultra X, so 4th time the charm with this. So initially I was meant to do the Jordan, which you fly up to Jordan, and I'm kind of happy this didn't happen in 2023 or 22, one of them. And I was meant to do that, and it clashed with something, or I couldn't do it, or I can't remember if they even cancelled it, but for some reason the dates didn't line up, and in hindsight, I fucking hate camping, and especially in the desert and doing 5 days. I'm glad that didn't happen. It looks beautiful, and every time I see the videos they put up each year, I get jealous. But I don't think just camping's not for me. So they gave me race credit for that, which was a hefty amount. So then I was like, oh, I'll do spring trails, and this was last year, and I was training for it, and I was fucking smashing like. I think I even had some videos on this channel for training for it, and yeah, I did, because there's some videos I think on this channel called Road to the Ultra, which was for that, and I was absolutely smashing it. I was doing trails, long runs, and I felt so good. And then the week before, I got a it was like 2 weeks before, I got a bad chest infection, which wiped me. I don't think that at that point that was like one of the worst chest infections I'd had. And I was like, fuck, am I going to be able to run? So like 3 or 4 days before the ultra, I went for a test run when I thought I'd recovered, and I just absolutely felt like shite. I was like, there's no way. And last year when I was doing this, I was planning on doing the 75k or the 100k, one of them. Because I know they added some additional distances this time around, but I was like, I can't even run like 2 miles. How am I going to run this distance? So I took it on the chin, and I just cancelled my entry. I didn't get any credit for that because it was what it was, and I rebooked the Ultra X England, which is up in the Peak District, up sort of near Manchester way and all of that. For September of that year. So I did that. I trained. I didn't do that. I trained for it. I went there. I camped, which was the worst experience of my life, camping. I got like no sleep, and I think I got up out of the tent at like 2 a.m. and just went and laid in the back of my car, and got like barely any sleep. And I did that, and I got to like mile 19 of that, because that was a 2-day one, and the whole race, as soon as you got up to the hills, I don't know if you've been to the Peak District, was just like, you couldn't see like 2 foot in front of your eyes. It was just so bad. Let me see if I got some videos. I should have some videos, but yeah, and it was just miserable. And this was like summer, like September, like lovely weather, but as soon as you went up, it was just like horrible. And it was just wet and misty, and I remember climbing down. It was almost, because there was a lot of climbing up rocks, and I remember I'm like, this is fucking ultra walking. This isn't ultra running, because there was a lot of walking. And I slipped, and I fell down probably about 6-7 feet worth of rocks, but I absolutely mashed my knee up. And I got through 2 more checkpoints, but like they had radioed through, because the checkpoint after it happened, they were like, oh, they like patched me up, put all bandages around my knee where it's cut and my arm, and they radioed ahead saying just keep an eye on him. So they like, I think I got to the second one after that, and they were like, no, we're pulling you out, because they see me like hobbling along, like I was running, but probably I could have walked faster than I was running. Like, there's no way you're going to do another 14 miles, sleep in a tent, and then do another like 40 miles tomorrow. So they pulled me out, and I was absolutely devastated at the time. And I got back to the camp, and I just got my stuff, and I drove home that night. Luckily, we've got an automatic car. Both our cars are automatic, but luckily, it wasn't gears, because my leg was absolutely mashed. But I only needed to use one for driving. And I woke up the next day, and I was like, I can't even bend this knee at all. So, it was a good thing that I was just so like done with it the night before, that I drove home all the way from Manchester, because I don't know what I would have done. But yeah, and I was just like, I fucking hate camping. So that was my first ever DNF. It was my only DNF in a race. Yeah, that's kind of what happened with that. And That weren't last year. That was 2023. That went 2024. Yeah, I still think it's 2024 for some reason. It's still January. It's still acceptable that I make that mistake. So then, I couldn't book spring trials in 2024 because I did LA Marathon, and I didn't want to do the England one because I was like, I'm not camping, and I'm not driving all that way for like one day. So I'll do the spring in 2025, which I'm doing. Just trying to find them videos of the. Bloody hell. Has anyone else got like 10,000 videos on their like videos and photos on their phone? Bloody iCloud. If it weren't for iCloud, I'd just delete all this stuff. Yeah, and then hold on. Is these the pictures? That's August, September. Just finding them. Bear with me. Probably should pause the video. Again, another good reason not to do. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, that's literally like on top of a mountain, on top of a cliff, and it's just that white is just a foot like death. And you can see it's all like rocky and all the cliff fronts and all of that. Here's me looking very happy at the top of one peak. Oh look, here's a video. I think this was probably about 10 minutes before. So I'm just like, this is gnarly. And there's just like fucking goats and stuff, like looking down on them. They probably would have ate me if I fell down there. Is that another one? But just looks like shit. It's like you're in limbo, like in like them films like Supernatural when they went to like the limbo or wherever it was. And it was just a ghostly nothing. The film, The Others. Yeah, so yeah, I have some unfinished business with Ultra X. Yet to have a successful run with them. So I will be doing that on the Saturday after Brighton. And then a couple of weeks after that, I've got the London Marathon. And these 3 races, I'm raising money for Children with Cancer UK. It's a really good cancer that supports and funds research into, kids with cancer, like childhood cancer and issues like that, and also supports the families of the kids suffering, because it's what a shitty thing to have, or not only for the kid but the families. People go through that. It's heartbreaking, and I can imagine there's no support out there that could be enough to make it better, or anything like that. But if a charity like this, what they do is they just make it a little bit easier for the families, and in their funding the research. So what better way, or what better cause to raise money for than something that helps and supports those who are children are some of the most vulnerable, or they are the most vulnerable humans on the planet, and they've been dealt a shitty card. So if we can just support them, and like any money and anything like that anyone could give, even if it's a penny or a pound or a cent or a euro, I'll put the link below, and that will be greatly appreciated. So there is again another work call I had to deal with. It was a good one actually, so glad I picked that up and didn't let it go to voicemail. Yeah, so there, yeah, my runs. I'm going to put the link below if you want to sponsor me. As I said, a pound, a penny, a cent, a dollar, a euro cent, Australian dollar, anything, like at this point in time, I think we've got 260, 270 subscribers on the channel. If everyone I'm not saying everyone would, and I don't expect everyone would. I don't expect anyone to give anything, but if you want to help out a cause and see my fat ass run and get absolutely destroyed across the month of April, then yeah, please support it. It's such a good cause. I can't think of a worthier cause than helping vulnerable kids. Can you? So yeah, follow my other channel for updates and my Instagram. I'll put the links, my running Instagram, for all my progress on that. I'm gonna, from next month and in the build up to the runs, I'm gonna try and just make it a little bit more interesting. I don't know. I'm trying to think of ways that's just going to help encourage, donations for this. So if anyone's got any ideas, let me know in the comments below. So yeah, it would be a help again, because this isn't. I'm not like, I want to raise money for me for income or anything like that. This is purely, how can I raise money for this charity? So yeah, I've started watching a load of old. Not old. So it makes me sound old now when I refer to 90s movies as old. I watched Executive Decision the other day with Kurt Russell, and I'd never watched that film. I always got it confused with another film over the years, and I might have seen it one or two bits on TV like 20 years ago or so, but I sat and watched it the other day with the wife, and I was like, I've never seen this film. It's always funny seeing BD Wong. He's got like the funniest buzz cut in that movie. It's funny seeing BD Wong playing a tough guy. Because as a Jurassic Park fan, you can't help but see him as Henry Wu. And when we met him at the Dominion premiere, he was a really nice guy. So it's always funny. Because like as I was saying about like through some of these podcasts in the past, and some of the Jurassic people and that, my wife gets annoyed now when we watch a film even like that, and I'm like, oh, there's BD Wong, met him at the Jurassic premiere, or this, that, and the other. She's just like, ugh, show off. I'm like, I'm not showing off. I just think it's funny that I don't know, you just see these people and it's just a weird life, especially this time, even with like these events aside, so many people now are like conversing or engaging with, celebrities or like movie stars or TV stars. It's just, if you think back to the 90s of like, it was another planet, and you're like, and now like you could just tweet someone and they might reply being like, oh, da 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 da. I think, I've watched Drag Me to Hell, which the Sam Raimi movie, which is awesome, and I put it on Twitter, and Jack tagged I think Alison Lohman, the lead actress in that. Jack tagged her in it, and she responded, and we had like a brief exchange. And I was just like, that's another one where I was just like, man, what a weird time we live in. What else have I been watching lately? I've been getting back in some really cheesy horror films. I like watching all these low budget, straight to video, straight to DVD horror films, because you always find, some diamonds in the rough, and you have to get through some rough to find the diamonds. But these ones that you usually find, kind of like, they do stick with you. Like one film that I found like that was a film called Grave Encounters, and I believe it's on Amazon at the moment. Yeah, such a cool film. Sequel absolutely sucks. The Collector was another one which I stumbled upon, and I was like, this is awesome. Sequel absolutely sucks. I watched Smile 2. I enjoyed that a lot more than the second one. So weird, but it's also weird watching it like within a few weeks of watching the M. Night Shyamalan movie with Josh Hartnett. What was that called? Trap. I enjoyed that as well. We rewatched Cliffhanger. That was funny. So it's cool. Yeah, we watched Cliffhanger. I didn't know that was filmed in Italy as well. I looked up some of the facts, and it was actually filmed in the Dolomites. I can't even say it. The Domino's Pizza Mites in Italy, where Dominion was filmed. So that was cool. So yeah, and I started watching. So I'm just scrolling through my list, IMDb list here, because I always search films I'm watching. Hannibal Rising, that was alright. Definitely not up there with like The Silence of the Lambs, but it was cool. And A Cure for Wellness, that was such a weird film. I've been wanting to watch that for years, but I haven't got around to it because it was quite long. And I was like, oh, I've got so many films on my list that are like over 2 hours long that I haven't watched because I'm like, I don't have time to watch it. I don't have time to watch it. And then I'll do the Netflix Death Scroll or whatever, Amazon Death Scroll, where I'll watch a film that's an hour and a half, and I'll spend 45 minutes wasting my time finding an hour and a half film, only to not watch the whole film anyway. So now I'm in that mindset of like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch the films. If I watch them in 3 or 4 parts, so be it. It's better than them sitting on my list for 4 or 5 years. And I ended up watching Cure for Wellness almost in one sitting. I think the last half hour I just watched separately the next day. But I enjoyed it. It was weird, a bit of a funny ending, but it's definitely worth watching. It's such an odd film. It reminded me a lot of sort of like some of them late 90s, early 2000s, like films, what they should have been, like what was the one with Halle Berry and going with Gothica. Yeah, like, but it wasn't as shit as Gothica, but it was a good film. There's a real fucking horrible moment involving a dentist chair, which I won't spoil for you. But I'd still need to watch some of these long films. Like I've got what's the other film I got on my list? Oppenheimer. Yeah, that's on my list. And I think Nosferatu's out or coming out this week. I can't fucking wait to watch that. I really wanted to see it in the cinema, but I was... if you watch my other videos, I was really ill with a chest infection over Christmas. And I was like, I can't go and watch a film while I'm like coughing and spluttering every 5 minutes. I wouldn't... I fucking hate going to the cinema, and even if someone crinkles their crisp packet or their popcorn bag, I'm like, for fuck's sake. So I couldn't be that guy being like every 5 minutes. And one of my biggest cringes is when you see them like reaction videos of like Marvel films where like they fucking Captain Underpants comes out for the first time and they're all like, woo, like screaming. I'm just like, that is the biggest cringe moment for me. I remember we went to a double bill of Jurassic Park and The Lost World at the Prince Charles Cinema in London, which is notably known for having interactive viewings, but this, like, sing along, dance alongs, whatnot alongs. But this was just a regular double bill. I think we were involved in the promotion of that as well. I remember we made a speaking to the cinema, I don't know, but yes, it was 2016 or 17. And I remember it was a packed cinema for Jurassic, and when Gennaro slips, someone went, keep rolling, and was like all proud of himself, and literally everyone just turned around and was like, this is England, this isn't, one, America, and two, this is not a woohoo along or anything, we just want to watch the film. But all I remember from that is just like the Jurassic Park, it was an original 35mm print, I think, and it was just like watching the film through a snowstorm with how like dirty the film was. But The Lost World was like crystal clear, like it was like Blu-ray. Although it was film, it wasn't crystal clear, but it was just in much better condition. But I know they played The Lost World there much less than Jurassic Park. So yeah. But yeah, I watched is it The Last Voyage of the Demure, the Dracula film. That was awesome. I watched that over Christmas, so I was like, yeah, I definitely want to see Nosferatu, but I didn't get to make it there, so I'm glad that's coming out or out already. I'll need to double check. It's Thursday today, so it might be coming out tomorrow. I just see it might have been a preview on the Fire Stick come up, where it's rather saying coming Friday or it's already out. I'll have to double check. Um, but yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, in terms of the channel, I enjoyed this. I feel like, where I work from home now, now for God knows how many years now, but a lot of time, especially if I'm not speaking to clients or people I'm doing work with, like this week has been this side of Christmas has been fairly not fairly quiet from a work perspective, but from a contact perspective, is in like a phone call. So I'm not speaking really to many people. A lot of the work's been done, and communication's been done on email, which is nice. It's very to the point. But I sit here some days, I'm like, I literally haven't spoken to someone for like 7 hours, like, because my kids are at school and the wife's at work and whatnot. So yeah, it's nice to actually use my voice on some days. I've got some more Jurassic videos lined up. I want to get playing the Oakwood some more because I really like that, but I'm going to have to play it at night because I don't know if it was my eyes or it's just that dark. I could barely see anything on that last video. I've got a few other games that I want to roll out on there, and Command and Conquer, of course. I want to get back playing Dead by Daylight, but there's so much, like, I just need to, and I say this every video, I need to understand more about all the different perks and the stuff that you collect and all that. Whereas me, I'm just like, yep, jump in the game, chase them down, kill them. It'd be cool to play it as a victim one day as well, rather than I say killer. I'm always Ghostface, so yeah, I want to get back playing that. But I mean, if there's anything else you'd want to see on here, just let me know. See if anyone that has any interest in my running stuff, it'll be on the link below for my running channel. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, I'm that's about it for today, really. As I said, I've got to go to London. I'm going to take the kids in a few weeks. One thing I have done when I've had to go out there for work bits in the last couple of years is I've been filming and taking pictures of mission, because I after I don't know why I really fell in love with the Mission Impossible movies over the last few years, and so much of them, I think Tom Cruise, especially for one of them, was it Rogue Nation or the one after that, he was like, it's a love letter to London. And every one of them now just has big chunks of it in London. So I was like filming and taking pictures of the London locations because I'm always like, oh, this is like where my meeting's going to be, and I'll go on the Mission Impossible like locations things, and it'll be like, oh, there's literally this scene from this film was filmed like here, like around the corner, or on my journey there, like throughout London. So I'd like film it and take some pictures, and I've been posting them on my Twitter as like a side by side comparison. And it's interesting to see how like some things that were more recent as opposed to like the OG in '96, which is 29 years this year. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, maybe I'll get some more of them and some other locations. I'll see where we might go and side by side them. I did watch what's that one with the guy from Kick-Ass in something the Destroyer, or I don't know what was his name. Fuck, what was that film called? What was his name? Aaron Taylor Johnson. What was that film called? Craven the Hunter. That's the one. I didn't think that was awful. Oh, it's in Nosferatu. I didn't think that was awful. I mean, it was far from good. Like, I'm probably, if I paid to see it at the cinema, I'd be a little bit upset. But then again, it's not a film I would have paid to see at the cinema. So yeah, it was. I didn't find it too bad. It was just, yeah, it was okay. It was entertaining. And yeah, so I can't believe that's what I'm going to leave this this on, the Craven the Hunter. He's in the new 28 Years Later film as well, so that should be cool. That's where we're going to end this. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please follow, please like and subscribe. Comment down below, and if you can donate, that would be great, and follow my other stuff. And yeah, let me know what you thought of this format, and if you want to see it as a live stream, and then we can do like live questions popping up and whatnot, or get some other people on here to talk. Yeah, thanks for watching, and let's see how dense this gets by the next episode. So catch you later.